Are there problems in the West Virginia running back room, and should we be concerned about the depth in that room as we are now just 3 weeks from starting the college football season? We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the reinforcements that Coach Rod and his staff are trying to go out and get to help with the problem. We're also going to talk about the latest in the case involving the 4 West Virginia football players, or the 4 players who want to be West Virginia football players, who are filing a lawsuit against the NCAA. We'll talk about that, and we'll have that conversation about both of those topics right now. What is up, and welcome into this episode of Couz's Corner, your home for top shelf college sports content surrounding the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Big 12. Today, Coach Rodriguez dropped some very interesting information about the running back room at West Virginia. He was talking about their scrimmage, or their not really a scrimmage, but their full padded practice, the second full padded practice of fall camp, and how they were only able to go for about 20 minutes because they only had 2 running backs who could play. Those were Jahiem White and Diore Hubbard. 2 players. Obviously, we know Jahiem White, and Diore Hubbard was a freshman on the team last year who saw very limited action. But what about, the D2 transfer, Cannon Katzer? What about Jalen Knighton, the transfer over from SMU? What about Tye Edwards? Well, we all know the whole thing about Tye Edwards, right? He's been ruled ineligible for whatever reason. He did not get his waiver approved from the NCAA, which we'll talk more about that in a minute. We'll come to find out, Jalen Knighton, the former SMU running back, is also yet to be ruled eligible by the NCAA. So he's out right now too and is not even able to practice with the team. And apparently hasn't been able to yet. So that's a concern. And then you throw in the fact, and heck, I even forgot to mention Clay Ash, the walk-on that's gotten a lot of praise from not only this staff, but the previous staff. We forgot to talk about him. He's part of the mix too. He's been banged up along with the aforementioned Cannon Katzer. So Katzer's banged up. Ash is banged up. Neither Edwards nor Knighton are eligible. That leaves White and Hubbard. So, and from a talent standpoint, I like both of those guys. Obviously, we love Jahiem White. But, man, you can't go into the season with two healthy running backs. You've got to have guys. You have to have bodies at that position. You've got to be able to run practices. You can't even run practices with full practices with 2 running backs. I mean, heck, they're supposed to have a scrimmage on Saturday. What's going to happen there? Are you going to be able to scrimmage with 2 backs? I mean, ideally, you don't want Jahiem White taking too many hits, right? I mean, obviously, you want him to scrimmage, but you don't want him taking too many hits. Get him out of there after a series or 2. May not be able to do that. So they need bodies. Well, Coach Rod might be bringing in some reinforcements, which he also talked about in that press conference. Who is that? A familiar name. You remember Noel Devine, who's now an assistant coach on this staff, an assistant running backs coach, one of the greatest running backs to ever suit up for the old Gold and Blue, former 5-star recruit, one of only a handful of 5-star recruits to ever play at West Virginia. Well, do you remember last year when he got on the internet and was mad at the previous staff for not offering his son Andre a scholarship to West Virginia? Well, now times have changed because it appears that Coach Rod may potentially be bringing Andre Devine in to West Virginia. Now, Andre Devine, who was, like I mentioned, Noel Devine's son, played last year at Jacksonville State under Rich Rodriguez. Now, he didn't get any snaps, but he was only a true freshman, and he is small. He's listed at 5'7". I think he's listed about 175. Coming out of high school, I think he was listed at about 155. But coming out of high school, he had offers from places like UMass. He had offers from, I think USF may have offered him. Marshall offered him. And, of course, Jacksonville State. And, of course, he signed with Jacksonville State. And I would say largely in part because of the familiarity there with Coach Rod, or his dad's familiarity with Coach Rod. What appears, based on what Coach Rod said in his press conference today, Thursday, August the 7th, that they may be bringing Andre Devine to Morgantown to play for the Mountaineers. The words Coach Rod used were they're trying to get him off the waiver wire. And I don't know what the heck that means. But nonetheless, he's no longer on Jacksonville State's roster because I looked it up. He's no longer on their roster. So he has apparently left that team and is looking to come to West Virginia. I have read that he's coming over as a walk-on, but I mean, in today's day and age, it doesn't really matter. But he looks like he will potentially, if they can get everything worked out, get all the details, all the paperwork. I'm sure there's a lot of academic things they have to work through as far as signed up for classes and all that. Whatever they have to do, they're trying to work all that out, get him on this football team for the 2025 season. Now, he's going to be coming in late, so he'll have to catch up. They'll have to do some cramming. But, the good thing is he already understands what to do. For Coach Rod, he will likely have some knowledge of the offense already because he played it in a year ago. He'll know the terminology. He'll know what to do. But he'll have to catch up to the speed of the game because the speed of the game will be faster at the Power 4 level. He'll obviously have to gel with his teammates and all that. But I don't see that being an issue, especially considering the fact he will be coached by his own dad. He's going to be there to help him along the way each and every step. I think this is a move that you can make. I see this as a good move. Do I expect Andre Devine to come in and play a lot of snaps? I don't. But he's another body in that room who can come in and give, if at very, very worst, he's a practice player that can give you snaps at practice. And at best, who knows? This young man could turn out to be a great player and be a superstar. Again, I don't expect him to do that in year one, but you never know. He might be able to contribute on special teams. He did return punts and kicks in high school and did so pretty successfully. He can line up. He's a very versatile player. Not only can he play running back, he can also line up in the slot. I saw highlights from him in high school at Northport High School, by the way, the same high school that Noel Devine went to. Or I'm sorry, North Fort Myers High School. I said Northport, didn't I? North Fort. I have family that lives in Northport. Sorry to make that slip. But anyway, it's North Fort Myers High School is where he played. I saw him line up out wide. He can line up in the slot. He can play running back, return kicks. I think it's a good addition to the roster. Even if he's not able to come in and play right away, he can learn. He's still a redshirt freshman. He can learn, get better, hit the weight room. He gets access to a Power 4 nutrition program, a Power 4 weight program, a Power 4 conditioning program, Power 4 facilities. All of that will do nothing but make him better as long as he utilizes it properly. And who knows? He could end up being a contributor to this football team. So I think this is, and when you're struggling with depth already, I think it's an easy move to make. It's a no-brainer move to make. I like it. I hope that Clay Ash and Cannon Catcher can get healthy and come back. I hope that Tye Edwards and Jalen Knight are able to get their waivers or their eligibility approved by the NCAA, whatever it takes. I hope all those guys are able to play in 2025. But just in case they go out and add this piece, potentially try to add, or at least are trying to add this piece in Andre Devine. It's not finalized yet. Nothing set in stone, but they are working on it, per Coach Rod's comments in his press conference. Speaking of Tye Edwards and Jalen Knight not being available, Tye Edwards is one of 4 players who have filed a lawsuit against the NCAA. And we're going to talk about that right after I'll tell you about my sponsor, Appalachia Digital. Appalachia Digital, and you see their logo right here in the corner. They are the folks who designed the website, WVSportsChat.com, where myself, Jonathan Martin, and several other folks are over there putting articles out. They did a great job designing that website. It's very professional, very well done. They know what they're doing. If you want a new website, go check out AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. That lets them know I sent you, and it also gets you in touch with them. Lets them know that, hey, I want a new website too that looks as good or even better than the one you did over at WVSportsChat.com. Or if you already have a site, they'll help you level up your site, get found easier on Google with their SEO expertise as well. But check them out, AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. Now we're going to talk about the update on this lawsuit between the 4 West Virginia players and the NCAA. The 4 players are Tye Edwards, the running back from Northern Iowa, Jamoy Robinson, the defensive end transfer from UTSA, Justin Harrington, the safety transfer from Washington, Jeff Weimer, the wide receiver transfer from Idaho State. And I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. But anyway, I talked about it on the show already. They're suing the NCAA. I'll leave a link to the show I've already done at the end. But they've sued the NCAA to try to get their eligibility, right? Well, a couple days ago, someone by the name of Sam Ehrlich on X put out a tweet. Now, Sam Ehrlich is a professor at Boise State University, but he's a former attorney, and he also writes about college sports law. He's very interested in it. He writes about it. He posts about stuff on Twitter. He's a very good source for this type of information. He put out a tweet on August 5th, which was 2 days ago. It says, the West Virginia football eligibility case has indeed been reassigned to Judge John Preston Bailey after Judge Klee recused, citing his support of WVU athletics. Judge Bailey, of course, ruled in 2023 that the NCAA's year-end residence transfer rule violated antitrust law. And remember, this at its core is about antitrust, because these players are claiming that by not being ruled eligible for at least 3 or in some cases 4 years of college football, they're being restrained from being able to earn NIL money because they spent, whether it be they spent years at JUCO or community college, or whether it be, some of them have battled injuries throughout their careers. They've had seasons canceled in some cases. Multiple reasons here. They're saying, hey, you're impending on our ability to earn revenue. We've got the profit share deal now kicking in for this season. And they're like, hey, I can't participate in profit sharing because I can't be on the roster, and I can't earn NIL money because I'm not on the roster. And what business wants to pay me if I'm not playing and if I'm not on the team? So it's at its core, it's an antitrust case. And Judge Bailey, when other people were suing the NCAA saying, hey, we should not have to sit out a year. That's what the year in residence rule was. When the NCAA said every player should be required to sit out a year, Judge Bailey ruled that that's an antitrust law, because that year that they sit out, they can't earn money, right? Or at least it hurts their opportunity, hinders their opportunity to earn money. So this tells me the fact that Judge Bailey has already ruled against the NCAA once, there's a really good chance he could rule against them again. Now, obviously, it's a different case, different details behind the case, and the case of each player is even different, right? It's very possible, because I reached out to Sam and asked him personally. I actually was going to have him on the show, but it didn't work out for various reasons. Sam told me basically the judge does have the flexibility, either if he wants, to rule differently for each player. But he said that's very unlikely to happen. More than likely, whatever ruling he makes, he will likely rule for the same for all 4 players. And he appeared on Mountaineer, the Locked On West Virginia show with Mountaineer Paul as well. And it's my understanding, I haven't got a chance to watch it, but it's my understanding there he said that he feels like these players have a really good chance of winning this case. Again, we'll see how it turns out. He also went on to say in a separate tweet that the case has been scheduled for August the 19th, Tuesday, August 19th. He says Judge Bailey has set a Tuesday, August 19th hearing date for the WVU football eligibility case. So August 19th, which is 12 days from now, he will hear this case. And it's very possible he rules on that day as well. So maybe, just maybe, these guys will get their eligibility granted before the first game of the season. Now, will they be able to play the first game of the season? I'm not sure. Thankfully, West Virginia doesn't start with a team like Penn State this year. They're starting with Robert Morris. They should be able to beat Robert Morris without these guys. But it would be really cool for them to be able to get in that game and play, to try to, get adjusted to what Coach Rod wants to do. But at very, very worst, if they get declared eligible on this date, they'll at least have some practices under their belt before game 1, and we'll have a couple of games under their belt before Pitt comes to Morgantown on September the 13th. But that's the latest update. I think this is good news if you're somebody who wants these players to win. Now, the other side of the argument is, hey, this opens up a whole new can of worms for college athletes, and it just creates less guardrails and more chaos, and we're now going to have people playing college football for 6, 7, or 8 years now. And I get that. And that is something that is a concern, I guess, for those of us who like to follow college sports. But as a West Virginia fan at heart, I'm biased here. I want these players on the field for 2025 because I think they have a chance to help this team win, especially Jahiem Robinson. I've talked about him on the show multiple times. Former Defensive Player of the Year in the American Conference for UTSA, 10.5 sacks a year ago. He's a phenomenal football player. Phil Steele put him as a first-team All-Big 12 performer in his preseason magazine. So he's that good, folks. West Virginia needs him on the field. And I think the other three guys also have a great opportunity to contribute and maybe even be starters for this football team. So this case is going to be critical, or at least important, in my opinion, for this team. Is how many will it make a difference in how many games they win? Maybe. It's very possible. I think Jahiem Robinson's good enough that he can impact games and potentially be the difference in winning or losing a game or two here and there. So because of the pressure, he's able to get on the quarterback. So let's see what happens on August 19th when Judge Bailey hears this case. And, fingers crossed. I want to hear your comments, though, in the comment section, your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about this case? How do you think Judge Bailey will rule? Do you think it's positive for West Virginia that he's now going to be presiding over this case? And B, what do you think about Andre Devine coming to Morgantown potentially and getting a spot on the roster? I want to hear your thoughts. Also want to give a shout out to all of my paid VIP members. I don't have names scrolling along the bottom in this one. I want to remind you about the Golden Blue Breakdown show that Jonathan Martin and I do on Wednesday. We record on Wednesday nights. It typically airs or is published on Thursdays around lunchtime. You can check out the one we did today. I will leave a link to that in the comment section if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet. We did our season prediction video where we went through each game one at a time and gave whether we thought West Virginia was going to win or lose that game, and of course gave the overall records of the team that we're expecting for this year. So if you want to check that out, check out the link in the comments. Don't forget our new website, WVSportsChat.com. You can be a subscriber to that site now. When you pull it up, it'll give you the option to subscribe, where you get weekly emails sent to your inbox showing you what has been written on the site for the previous week. We ask that you please do that and support what we're doing there. Obviously, you can subscribe to this channel. That's free as well. It's very easy. Just hit that subscribe button. You can simply hit the thumbs up button on this video. That really helps the algorithm, shows YouTube that you like what I'm doing, and they will hopefully pump this video out to more people. You can also subscribe. You can also also share it. All that helps. And make sure you have notifications on as well, by the way, to make sure you get notified of future content. Oh, and don't forget about this video here where I talked about the case involving those 4 West Virginia athletes. God bless, and Q Country Roads.